Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
Bro,
Great.
you were Mr. Rogers today. Whoa.
That was
It was
great.
awesome.
Yeah, masterclass.
I wanted to say that, Pip Munch, I loved listening to you articulate your process for note taking. I'm always interested in knowing how my students, take the information, disseminate that information in a usable format for themselves, and make it personal to themselves. I love the fact that you said you don't want to share it because
Mhm.
it's treasure. It's your moment of your life, and you encapsulate that moment, and you also bring to it your own concerns, your own focus, the things that's salient to you at that moment, right now. You're in your present understanding in your journey, and that's not something that's everyone else is entitled to that. So
Yeah.
I want to commend you to that. I want to say like that was wonderful. I loved hearing about that, and I like to hear all my students do that type of thing. So well done.
Oh, thank you. The only reason I don't share it is because it has like really private stuff in it, like about my health and stuff like that. That's why I don't share it. But I actually had something, but I didn't know if I was able to talk about it in this space. But I picked something that I could share about some struggles. Like last Saturday, you asked me, how did you overcome the time when you didn't see the results yet? And I said the spaces, because they fire me up, they have psychology and everything. But later on, I thought I didn't give any example of such a space and um, something that happened. And I have something that I could share, and it's about tilting and a specific space where you uh, went into that. Kit, can I do this?
Pretty please. Pretty please.
Okay. um, it's the space is a space from March 17th, 2023. So that's when I was maybe 3 months into studying the concept. And I was tilting. I was tilting, and my tilting looked like when it didn't go my way, I went like heavy breathing, like stuff like that. And this space is called when being right is no longer enough. Um, the part what I'm talking about starts at 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 53 seconds. Um, it goes into anxiety, panic attacks, how to deal with it. But there's a little quote. I love quotes. And this quote is, when it happens, when it happens, leave the room where your charts are for minimum of 10 minutes. It's gonna feel like you want to rush back in here and just peek and see what's going on. Don't do it. Do something else. Take a walk, go grab something, drink, stretch out, let 10 minutes pass. All of the adrenaline, the cortisol, and all the hormones your body is releasing will burn off in 10 minutes. End of the quote. So for me, um, I when I'm in the notes in the final version where I put the psychology in and stuff, what I started doing is I started to write it down. So what's happening when I go tilting? What's going on? How does it start? At first, I thought it's the breathing, it's the yelling at the chart. I started screaming at the chart. And like I told Kit right now, I speak 3 languages, but somehow yelling at the chart is in Italian. I'm cursing at it in Italian. Um, I had to dig deeper because that wasn't the solution. The digging deeper was done by continuing to taking the notes, because I had to find a pattern. Like, what is it that's repeating that keeps me going into this? And in the space is also something about the bodily sensation, what is going on when you go on tilt. And I found that my tilt, and I only found that by taking all those notes and finding the pattern. And what I found was that it begins with I can feel my blood is starting to flow upwards from my hands, through my arms, to my shoulders, to my neck. Then the neck gets hot, and then it goes to my face. When it gets to my face, I'm in the danger zone. I'm tilting if it gets to my face. So if that happens, I'm not gonna get cooked by the market. I'm gonna get fried like a KFC chicken wing, totally fried. Leaving the room, I tried all of those things. Leaving the room, go to the kitchen, grab a drink. Michael said all those things. Go take a walk. I tried punching in a pillow, screaming in a pillow. It was not enough. So at some point, I learned that what I have to do is when the blood reaches my neck, not my face, the neck, I have to switch off my phone. I have to shut down the laptop and I have to go into the shower because that puts two barriers up. One is to get back to trading, I have to restart the phone, the laptop, everything, and I have to reopen everything. So it's not as easy to go back and ignore everything. The second one is when you're in the shower, there's water, your hands are wet, you're away. You're just done. You're away. And I don't come out until I'm totally calmed down, and then my trading day is over. I get out, I grab my notebook, the hard copy with the pen, write down what happened, I order some food, and I put on a space in my headphones. I can tell you I have never tilted again after that. So that's what I wanted to add to that.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to say something real quick.
Yes.
The fact that you're willing to talk about that openly, there's a lot of people listening, and a lot of people will listen to it as a recording. The fact that you're willing to share that, because it's intimate, number one, it's private, it's vulnerable. Okay,
Yeah.
it proves your vulnerability, and you're growing, honestly, in maturity. You don't even realize it right now because what you just did, you laid down those things that are plaguing the majority of people online right now.
Yeah.
The perception of what if you don't do it right? How will you be judged? And now what you just did was, I went on tilt. These are my signals to tell me, like I'm getting ready to go do that again. So what does that mean? It means that you're human. That means it's likely that you can do it again if you don't check yourself, if you don't put
Yeah.
procedures and protocols in place. And the fact that you've done those things and you've removed yourself from the stimuli, that's perfect. You did it perfectly. And I just want to say that what you've done, I'm thankful for your willingness to do it. And everybody should have their own means and mechanisms to separate themselves from the impulsiveness that trading will lead to in terms of tilting. Awesome job. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. It's due to your spaces. That's why I keep emphasizing people to listen to the spaces when you're doing stuff. If you're vacuum in the gym, just listen to a space. You're gonna get something out of it.
Wow. I just want to add, Pitmunch, something you do, and it's a technique that you mentioned within Tilt. I think it's a really good thing because one of the things I think we like to talk a lot about here is manifestation. And I believe going into the water, when you're in the shower, you can really amplify your thought and your feeling towards the things that you're looking to manifest. So if you can really pray in a shower in water, you're going to find that water, the water crystals, the everything about the water within prayer, within meditation will add an amplification, and it will when you're sending positive messages, the water then showers you with those messages. So your thought, your reality, your projection, your manifestation, it's an extremely meditative process in the shower. And this is from a guy who does this actively. So I'm trying to convey to you something that's very, very, very important for you to do, and that's really raise your thought and your feeling within the shower, as you mentioned.
Thank
Much. I
you.
love,
Yeah,
I love that
I
you.
believe in God, so yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a technique. When we talk about techniques, it's important for me as an older gentleman to try and offer techniques and the idea of crystals, the idea of energy, the idea of water, the idea of thought and feeling and meditation, manifestation. These are all, none of these are things that you're going to be listening to within the programs that we come from. I want to get into it more. It's difficult. It's kind of abstract, but honestly, as traders, we come from a world, a lower vibratory sense of self-destruction. We all have this form of self-destruction, and the charts do a great job with tilt, within our own psychology of forcing that self-hate, that self-loathing, that anger, that all of the low vibratory states that you have. You don't realize that you live in those frequencies until you come to the chart as a trader. I'm here to tell you that. I didn't learn who I was as a human being, or even that I could acknowledge those states until the market punished me.
I agree.
I had to come to the market within that state, and the market had to destroy me in that state. And then I had to document and acknowledge it. And within journaling and within a lot of self-realization, you can begin to break the spell, the cast that's cast upon you at an early age that you put on yourself. We come from this, again, like to say that there's this low vibratory sense of self-hate. So many people want to feel sorry for themselves. They want to, they're just angry, and they come from this place, and it's a frequency. But what we try and do is within trading and within what Michael's entire career has been about, and that's that ability to manifest, that ability to have hope, that ability to make a good decision and see the fruits of that labor, and understand that success is a delayed mechanism. It never comes right away. If it comes right away, it's vapid, shallow. It's not real. Success comes through hard work and delayed gratification. Again, that is shown on the charts. That is shown within the mentorship. That is up to you, the trader, to understand and align yourself with the principles that are what the guiding light that is operating within specific process and procedures, laws, guidance. Michael is showing you how not to break yourself against the market, but instead align yourself within the principles and values of yourself.
Beautiful.
The market is a frequency that's going to churn a lot of negative information that you have on yourself. And it's going to regurgitate and puke all of that negativity onto the chart. You will do that. The chart will regurgitate that. It's up to you to break that spell. Part of being a novice new trader is breaking the spell of self-hatred. You overtrade and you overleverage because you don't think you're worthy of the success that you are portraying yourself to have or potentially have. You want to be worthy of that success, therefore you must break the spell. And I'm a very firm, strong believer in this because I've had to break through it. And we all live in a level of self-hatred and self-doubt. And not acknowledging that as a trader is not acknowledging the overtrading and the tilt that we do. And how do you get over that is you break the spell. Your why, your purpose. Those begin to create the ways in which you break the spell of overtrading, overleveraging, of following this rinse and repeat cycle of failure because you don't allow yourself to be worthy of what you want to be. I wonder who I'm talking to in this crowd that can relate with that message.
I'm interested in hearing from others in regards to how they're weathering all the stresses, everyday stresses, while they're learning how to do this too. It'd be a wonderful, you know, springboard into further conversation.
We'll bring up more folks, and that's precisely what we'll do. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Joe Trades, come on up. Pretty please answer Michael's question. And we'll continue with that in mind. Joe Trades, you're up, buddy. Joe Trades, you there, buddy? One more try. Come on, buddy. Jack, there he is. Come on, Joe. Jump in. Turn off your speaker or turn on your mic, buddy. I can't hear him. Can you?
Hey, Kitt, I can jump in just to keep you
Okay,
going.
jump in here, buddy. Pretty please. Tech
Yeah.
difficulties with Joe Trades. Power down, power up, Joe Trades. We'll get you right back in here. X is undefeated. Ladies and gentlemen, apologize for that. Jump in here, AM. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. So, as mentioned before, I've been here a couple times. I'm from California. I'm from Los Angeles, and as ICT mentioned today, we are paying a lot more money right now for everything. With the current way of life, the way it's been going, and then now with the war, which I don't really want to get into at all, but everything's up the roof. My groceries are more expensive. My gas is more expensive. I paid $6.50 the other day per gallon. And when you live in a city like LA and you're constantly driving and commuting everywhere, you got to fill up a lot and it takes a big toll on the pocket, and you see it right there. And what happened first was I felt a lot more pressure on myself, right? And with the markets in these conditions of these high resistance liquidity runs, when you start to feel the pressure and the debt coming onto you, you feel like you got to trade more. And you feel like you got to just get in there and you got to stock it and try to take that trade to make that money, because well, now you're losing money every single day just living, and it's getting more and more expensive, and it gets to a point where it's kind of very difficult. So the first thing I did was I just turned to the charts, and obviously that didn't work. That's why earlier when we first started, I brought up that Michael mentioned, even if you know where something's going, even if you know what the chart's gonna do, you shouldn't trade it all the time. And a majority of these AM sessions, I looked at them and I know what's gonna happen, but it's too difficult. So the way I'm dealing with it is I'm trying to practice patience. I'm trying to practice uh not being too impulsive. And I know that I can hopefully withstand this for a little bit. I don't know how long it'll last, but I got my house ready. I got a little bit, and I just have to try to withstand it, and I got to try to look for external sources or different markets or something else. And that's something I'm exploring right now to kind of help alleviate that pressure a little bit, because it is getting to a point where it's a lot. When your grocery bill goes up $50, when your gas goes up $1.50, and this is just the start of it. It could get much worse.
Very insightful. Jack Brown, do you want to jump up here? Thank you, AM. Very insightful. Direct to the question.
Absolutely. You hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Thank you for jumping in. You heard the question. You're tapping directly in. Yes, sir. Pretty please, you understand the protocol as well.
Okay, absolutely. Protocol. My name is Jack Brown. I just turned 45 a couple weeks ago. I trade 2022 model, discount premium OTE. I live here in Atlanta. I am an audio engineer / producer, work in the music industry, and I've been trading ICT, studying ICT since 2023, March. So I'm coming up, so I guess it's 3 years now. And so yeah. And as far as the, what's going on with the market with me right now, I've been having a lot of trouble. I guess around December, I thought I pretty much had it. I got my first payout December, second payout January, and since then I've been kind of struggling, which I'm sure a lot of people have with just, really getting the direction right, really being able to get that same, being on point like I was last year at the end of the year. And again, I thought I was doing great. I saw Top Step put out their numbers as far as the payouts, and I'm like, okay. So a lot of people was getting payouts in December and November and January. So maybe I didn't have it all the way together like I thought I did. So I'm just still studying, still, watching all the mentorships. I caught half of the mentorship this morning, and staying plugged into the spaces and everything, and it's definitely difficult, to stay on point right now. Like the last person was saying, with all the stresses of the economy and everything that's going on, you try to look to trading to be that extra. Michael teaches and everybody teaches as far as, not trying to get rich, but to take care of some bills and things of that nature. But it's just kind of hard to stay on point when the market is just going crazy. I was mainly trading gold. I started listening to TRU maybe about 2 years ago, and then everybody was talking about gold in Asia, the metals and things
Yes,
of that nature.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
absolutely. So I started finding some consistency with gold, like I said. But just lately, it's just like even with one micro contract, gold moves so fast. It's just like, because I usually have like a 15-point stop, and my stop is just ruined very quickly. So I started I went back to MNQ, following Michael's teachings, and that's here or there. Sometimes I can kind of get in sync, sometimes not. I also was been looking at MCL, and even this week I had maybe 3 different eval accounts. I lost all of them. I lost my Top Step funded account. I put a couple of dollars into.
Let me ask you real quick.
Yes, sir.
Would you agree that you lost all of those because you did not follow the correct protocol and that you let your emotions and feelings interject with your trading business?
When you say I didn't follow the protocol, what do you mean?
Well, I didn't take any trades. Michael didn't take any trades. Like, what makes you
Right.
think that the protocol or the market conditions are such that? You just said you blew up how many accounts and you're engaging in a market that is less than optimal. Would you agree if you did not, or if you had not engaged in the market, you'd still have those accounts and you'd be a better steward towards that capital?
Absolutely. If I didn't engage, for sure. Absolutely.
So the idea, the protocol as ICT traders, we joke around about the FOMC and whatnot, but the market conditions, a lot of inside bars, are they optimal to trade?
Not necessarily. No, they're not.
Okay, it's identifying that, but I don't mean to break your balls. Go ahead, buddy. I'm not trying to be that guy. I understand what you're saying.
No, it's
Can
cool.
I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Do you feel that your previous payouts were kind of like inspirational for you to try to maybe trade more than you probably would have if you wouldn't have got the last 2 payouts? In other words, I guess what I'm saying is did you feel like you were pursuing a third payout more so than trying to stay reined in as a trader and not try to over trade? Does that make sense to you in terms of framing a catalyst as to why you went on tilt? Because maybe you're pursuing that third payout because you felt good getting the previous 2 and reaching, and obviously everything being expensive, knowing that payout would come would make you feel like, well, yeah, things are expensive, but I have this working for me. Did you feel those types of thoughts kind of like propel you into doing trading maybe more frequently, or at times when you probably may have in other times not done so?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I would say that I was still following the same protocol that I was following when I got the payouts. You know, I was taking all of my trades and putting it in AI, and so I was learning what times work best for me. I was learning what direction worked best for me. So I kind of had all my data that was working for me. It's just that the conditions changed that were working for me. So I guess I didn't, when it changed, I didn't adapt quick enough. And maybe I did get a little comfortable because I did get those payouts. You know, and maybe I did front run the move sometimes, but I don't really see where I changed up too much from what I was doing before, other than I didn't adapt quick enough once the markets became a lot more volatile. And I realized that gold was moving faster than what I could handle. So, you know, through my data, I realized that, you know, my success was coming more so in a lower ATR market. You know, when the market moves a certain amount per day, you know, I had more success. So because of that, that made me switch back to MNQ, and you know, I just felt like, you know, I was getting faked out a lot. So, you know, I have to kind of attribute that to, you know, it's more to learn. So
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
When you said that you lost the account or the eval, can you answer the question in regards to just to say one of the evals? How many trades did it take for you to go through that eval? Like, in other words, how many transactions did you take before you were no longer allowed to use that one and you had to reset?
How many trades?
Yes, sir.
It was a slow burn, so it's not like I'm just running through the eval in a day or a week. It's just like, you know, I'm risking $150 per trade, and typically I take 2 trades, you know, $300 per day. So 2 trades and I'm done. So it was a slow burn. You know, it took me a couple of weeks to actually go through it, and then in between that time, there, you know, I'm having some successful weeks and
Gotcha.
some, you know, but it's just like a slow burn. It's just like, you know, some losses here, wins here, losses, but it's just more losses than wins. And, you know, recently, just listening to your latest spaces and your latest videos, I've been trying to lock in on the first presented fair value gap. That was one of the questions I wanted to ask you too, was even with the video you put out on Tuesday, the first presented fair value gap that you marked out, I think it was around 8:30 in the morning, and I can post the chart if that helps because I already screenshotted it. But the first presented fair value gap that you marked out was different from the one that I marked out, because from what you taught, it was my understanding that you said the first presented fair value gap only happens between that 30-minute period, and it happens after liquidity has been swept. Is that correct?
Well, it wouldn't be the opening range first visit fair value gap if you were seeing it in 8 o'clock hour. So that would be before 9:30 opening.
Well, that's what
Eastern
I meant.
time.
9:30. I'm sorry, not from
Okay,
9:30 to 10.
My selection for fair value gaps are directly linked to gradient levels based on inefficiencies and ranges that I've defined I've been teaching this year. Also, I already have a predetermined expectation on what I want to see price action do. In other words, I have a draw on liquidity, I have a narrative I think it may try to implement, framing that first hour of trading. And then I look for that displacement in that fair value gap. So it's not just simply, there's a gap there, it's the first one that happened. That's not enough for me. I'm actually teaching the whole process of what I did was when I discovered this element of first presentation, this whole process of which one do I use and how do I define that and what rules and parameters, how did that morph into what I use today? When I first saw the concept, It was simply pick the first one. If you do, you'll see many trades form, but sometimes you won't get a signal for others. And that'll be a source of frustration for you, like it was for me, but you'll grow through that. By learning to anticipate what you think the market's going to do, then looking for it to displace in that narrative, in that direction, supporting that trade idea, that's what I use it for. So it's the first presented fair value gap that fits the narrative and the criteria I'm looking for within my model. That's the technical term and terminology, and it's the definition you're going to see in the book. So you got it for free here. I gave it right to you, but that's what I'm doing. I'm taking everything and placing them in the right place at the right time, and that's why I'm using the fair value gaps that I say is first presented, and that's why they're working the way they do. There's more criteria than just simply it's first appeared.
Okay, so bias first, and then it's the next fair value gap after the bias is formed. Not necessarily
not so much bias.
Okay.
Narrative is not bias. Narrative is how a price delivery will unfold. It could, in other words, if you think it's going to go higher, it may go down and take out a short-term low before it does that. It may trade down into a discount fair value gap before going higher. If I'm bullish, I'm looking for a criteria that allows for either the first presented fair value gap to perform as an inversion fair value gap. So think I'm bullish. If I see the first presented fair value gap with displacement, that's going to be a SIBI. In other words, it's a down closed candle. In my mind already, it's fitting criteria that this is going to act as an inversion fair value gap. So now I'm going to wait for it to trade above it, come back down, validate that inversion fair value gap, keep price out of the lower half of it. That means I'm on side. Order flow is signaling to me that I am bullish. I can go long at consequent encroachment or up to its high, anywhere in there. But if it spikes a candlestick wick down in there, I won't be fearful of not taking that trade once it validates it. And once it comes back down, it can do that. And it's completely permissible as long as the bodies stay out of it. And I'll just keep parlaying and building the position up as long as I have the equity to do so. And then I'll just ride it up to whatever the draw is on liquidity. So it's not just simply, here's the first gap that forms. It's the first gap that forms within the context of the expectation I hold over price action, which is narrative. The bias, I'm actually trading outside of bias because I'm trading only in the first hour trading. I don't need a bias. Like I have zero bias lately because I don't trust higher time frame bias because we're in this larger long-term consolidation. So by removing the necessity for knowing bias, I'm just looking for what's the current narrative right now, what are they going to run for, who are they going to hurt right now, and that's what I'm doing. When we move to a trending environment again, then I'll go back to doing other things and I'll teach you now I'm applying this. So I'm always teaching over real live market conditions. I'm not cherry picking, looking at hindsight. So it gives you that ebb and flow that you're going to have to work within as a trader using these concepts. So that way you're not going to be fearful of whatever's going on, whatever happens. And right now I'm learning that my concepts still work really, really well in these difficult market conditions. It just means that I have to just dial back my frequency and intensity.
Okay. That answers a lot. I think I was looking at it because I was looking at the first presented fair value gap as far as like if it's bullish or bearish, then that's kind of what I'm looking for as far as my bias moving into that session. So I have to just change the way I'm looking at that and come up with a narrative and use that to form my narrative and how I form my trade. I think that's what I'm hearing you say. And then I go back and listen to this space and
Yes,
really
sir. Yes, sir, Jack Brown. You'll want to do that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you sharing your experience though. I mean, it's not an easy thing being honest and telling everybody that it ain't always winning. And the fact that I love hearing all of you be honest and you come up here, you wear your heart on your sleeve and you say, look, this is what I'm going through. This is what I went through. This is what I suffered through this. You didn't get a chance, and I apologize for interrupting you if you were going to get to it. But could you, before you move over to another caller, Kitt, could you let him give his view on what he does to keep motivated and just take the spaces out? That's fine. I understand that part. But you yourself, what are you doing? What things? I know you said you're into music and you do other things. Do you pour yourself into your work, or do you do something like go to the gym or maybe golf or lift weights? Like what do you do to distance yourself from the trading when you've hurt yourself in drawdown and you like, okay, I'm not gonna stay in this state of mind where I'm beating myself up. I'm gonna take this energy I'm feeling and this challenge and something else. So what is it that you found yourself doing that's been effective for you?
When I'm going through difficult times trading, just like when I get out this space with you guys, I'm going to the park down the street. I'll do about 10,000 steps. Get into nature. I go at the park that I go. It's a little creek with water, and it's a little bench there. So I sit there, listen to the water, talk to God. I have 3 kids, so my kids motivate me. I have my own studio, so at nighttime I'm getting to work with different artists, and that stuff keeps me motivated and keeps me happy. But just life in general, just trying to get to the next level, trying to be able to supplement my income and lock this trading thing in. That's the motivating factor. So trying to keep my mind off of trading when I'm not doing it, but at the end of the day, when I'm not actually involved in trading, I'm listening to past spaces, I'm riding the car, listening to other traders. So, my mind is always on it. I'm always thinking about it, but I just try to stay motivated when I'm taking, because at the end of the day, I know that I know the stuff. I've been studying it for 3 years, and I know that, I understand it at a level that's higher than a lot of people, but I still haven't been able to perfect it, which I'm sure perfection is something that I never get to. But, I just try
I'm
to stay.
still working on perfection, just so you know. I know what you mean, but even still, with 34 years, I've yet to perfect it. I'm still striving for it, though.
Yes, sir.
Because
So,
it's us versus the concepts, right? So the perfection, the concepts are the concepts, and it's us and how we deal with ourselves and how we utilize them, right? It really becomes how we utilize our tools and our tools within the market. There's a lot of introspection there. There's a lot of reflection there.
yes, sir. And I appreciate you guys for letting me come up and talk. And, and thank you, Michael, for everything
It was
you
great
do.
listening to you.
Yeah, high five, Jack.
Yes, sir.
Great convo with Pit Munch, AM, Jack. Definitely feeling Trader Roundup today. 10:49. Guess what I'm going to say, guys?
I like the time.
Thank you. It's so funny the amount of DMs I get of folks that say I like the time. They're like, Kitt, I say it, that I like the time to myself in my head, and they think of me when they say it, which is high five. That's hilarious. Viking, you're up, buddy. Viking, you there? Viking Trades. Trad Kirkson. Trader Kirkson. You there, buddy? Oh, tech difficulties. Power down, power up. Mono. Yes.
I'm not gonna take time. It's just about the technicalities. I was getting kicked out all the time, and I had just to update the app, and then it was gone.
That's good to hear. We do unfortunately get issues, but it just goes to say X is undefeated. We always have some form of tech issue. So trying not to, it's tough sometimes, but trying not to take it personally. I know I've struggled at times, but it is what it is. Let's bring up some more folks. I see you guys. Johan has been imploring to speak. Johan. Johan, you're up, buddy.
Hello.
Johan, you got so mad at me that I didn't bring you up that you unfollowed me. That's pretty funny.
Oh, I have my follow line only for news. That's why.
Oh, okay.
I follow ICT, but ICT doesn't appear there so much. Okay.
Go ahead. You had a question, Johan. I know it was really important to you, and you're like spamming me about it. So jump in.
Yeah, so I'm Johan. I come from North Germany at the Baltic Sea. I'm 16 years old and trade around 1 year exactly now. I like the first stage accumulation of a market maker model because ICT said for the first stage there has to be an order block, and that just, I'm sure that it moved over most people's head, but it burned itself in mine. So I'm just building a model around that right now. And I didn't really trade frequently before. I tape read it and watched many videos, which I'm really grateful for that it's for free because I'm underaged and I couldn't have subscribed to the mentorship. So thank you. And thank you that you mention Jesus a lot in your videos. That's also got me a lot closer to him. Okay. Can I say something that I got from the last space?
Please do so.
Okay. Maybe you all got it instantly, and I'm a bit slow on this, but I understood that a SIBI doesn't need to have 3 candidates. If you really think about the name, sales side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, it's obvious that it just means downwards delivery with a lack of upside. So it can be one singular down close candidate. I got that when you talked about the wick immediate to the left of the SIBI. So thank you about that. That helps a lot, I guess. And I got a script with like all my questions, but I'm a bit lost right now.
It's okay, buddy. I can tell you're a little nervous. That's okay.
Okay. I just skipped to the questions I have with like my faith. I struggled with repenting for my sins because I thought all my actions got me where I am now, and how I think, and I knew it was not right, but it wasn't like if I could change it, I would do so. I didn't ask for forgiveness because I know I didn't really repent for it. And what's the point in it then? So that was my problem for a while. And I struggled with it. It's similar to another point. I didn't try to ask for anything because I felt undeserving because of my sins and me lying to God. That was a big point. I said I would do or wouldn't do something in a prayer, and on the following days I did or did not do that. And I felt like I was betraying God and who I am to ask for something now.
So Johan, Johan, you're really using Trader Roundup as a confessional for where and how you feel, and you want to repent for your sins. Yeah.
Kitt.
Yes, sir.
Let him, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and that point actually led me to my answer to the first point. I actually felt bad that I did that to God, and I felt sorry and bad for betraying God. So my view changed. I looked not at it like what I did to me, more so what I did to God. And to the other point, with not asking for anything, I thought also about it with a similar perspective. If I were dad and I had a child, I would want him to come to me with his problems, and I would want to help him with it, or I would want to help him find solutions, and I would want him to ask me for help. So that was not really a question, but I struggled with it a lot, and I just thought maybe somebody else too. Okay, so now my questions. So the thing you said with Bitcoin, it can't go 30% of a new 100 yards.
I think we lost him. Are you there, Johan? Can you hear him?
No, I can't hear him anymore.
Yeah, he's off.
No.
No. Let's see if he comes back. Here. We'll get you back up here, Johan. Hold on. Let me find you, buddy.
While we're waiting, give him a couple minutes to find himself here. I want to say this. Number one, I know a lot of you aren't Christian here. A lot of you don't want to hear about those things. And I am a Christian. And if that topic comes up, I would like to let those individuals say what they have to say. Obviously, it's a venue for trading. But if it's a matter of someone wrestling with something, or if they are just a wreck and they're turning to God, if they're turning to spirituality, if they're turning to New Age, whatever it is, it's validating that they're going through something. Okay, you may not agree with their mode of managing through it, but if they care enough to come up and present it, I want to hear it. Number one, two. I think it's a reminder for folks that's pursuing, just because you say you're a believer in Christ and you're a Christian or a believer in God, somehow this stigma has been placed on people that believe that, oh, look at you. Like, I cuss. So, I come out here and I'll do something to market myself. And sometimes, even in my personal life, if I stump a toe, I get out of my truck and my kids don't put the air compressor back where I asked them not to put it, it's right there where I'm going to step out and I stump my toe, I'm going to say a bad word because it hurts and it's the first thing that's coming out of my mouth. I'm like, oh, it happens. Am I going to go to hell because I did that? No. And when you realize that even the apostles themselves, look at Paul, read his writings. Okay, he died daily. Okay, he even said he had the Holy Ghost. He was saved. He's up there saying, listen, I'm teaching you, but don't misunderstand me. I'm just like you. I struggle the same way. I do the things I know I'm not supposed to do. Whenever I'm setting forth the motion, I want to do certain things for good. I know that sin's waiting right there next to me. I know it. And he sometimes fails. He sometimes falls short. And he does the things he knows he's not supposed to do. And he's the apostle to the Gentiles. So why everybody thinks that we're supposed to be running around just because we put our faith in Christ, every one of our sins, he paid for before we were even formed. He didn't just do the ones that you're going to commit. You're always going to sin. And if you say you don't sin now because you believe in Christ and you're a Christian, you are a greater sinner. You're a liar now. Because while we're in this flesh, we're going to wrestle here because we're not supposed to be here. This is alien territory to us. So when we look at the world and we are stressed by it, and if we're trading, you're going to do things. It's going to cause you to feel pain. It's going to cause you to feel separated from God sometimes. And when you win, you feel like he's your best friend. But when you lose, how do you know he's not trying to teach you something? How do you know that he's not part of that, saying, hey, look, how well do you trust me? Do you trust me because I'm giving you everything? Or do you trust me because even though when it's difficult, you still have faith in me? Because that's what he wants. He wants to see someone that has faith in him at all times, not just when it's lucrative for you, not because it's good for you right now, because you're getting something from daddy. Are you still going to be an ambassador and still champion his name, lift him up, even when it ain't going right for you? Or are you a fair weather Christian? Because if you're a fair weather Christian, you're lukewarm. He's going to spit you out of his mouth. He doesn't care to have someone that worships him like that, because that's not true worship. So I heard what he was saying, and I kind of want to remind people that Christianity, or wearing the badge of Christianity and claiming to be a Christian, does not in any way, shape, or form imply that you are without sin or that you're incapable of sinning. And I see people, and I see other influencers, they've come at me before, oh, look at you, look how you talk. Yes. And I repent every single time. And I hate that I do it, because I have to reach you a certain way, and I have to talk your language, okay? Compel them, okay? I'm doing it my way, and I'm not the best ambassador with it. But I got all these people listening to me, and I get to bring up his name. Whether you choose to latch on to him or not, it doesn't matter. That's between God and you. If you walk with God because of the conversation I had about him, great. I'll get a reward for that. But ultimately, I'm giving the stage for him to do the work. That's it. And I'm going to sin. Until I leave this body, I'm going to sin. I don't want to sin. I don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to choose to be a sinner. Just like when you get up in the morning, you don't wake up and say, I want to go out there and blow my account in trading. I haven't done it in a while. Let's just do it just for, kicks. I'm bored. This guy can just blow an account. You don't get up and do those things, but you get up and you feel motivated to do something in trading because of pain, because of joy, mania. You feel great. You feel like you've been doing everything perfectly, and now you want to give somebody else another testimony that you're just so good. All those things are the same perpetuating circumstances that put you into sin. So frankly, when you're a trader, you're a sinner every day. You're sinning every single day when you push those buttons. Because what are you doing? You're coveting. You want what you don't have. You're saying what God's given you is not enough. Or is it you're going to take this opportunity and say, you know what? I'm going to invest. I'm going to invest not only in myself, but I'm going to invest with the ability to be useful in God's hands. Because if he anoints me and does everything to bless my hands and my labor, and I give him the promise that he can use me, place me in a position where if I can be beneficial to somebody else, to get his name glorified in it, that's a prayer I believe, me personally, I believe that he answers those kind of prayers. And struggling with sin and feeling like you're not good enough or blowing it, let me tell you something. God doesn't learn. He doesn't learn. Jesus in his humanity had to learn. The scripture even say that. But the spirit that was in him, which is the Father, he knows all things. All good things come down from the Father, from above. That's James. All things, not some things, not whatever, just cherry picked. Well, that was good. That must have come from God. What happens when it's a lesson? He allowed Job to go through that. He didn't let him die, but he allowed him to go through it. That's the same God. So we're going to fail. We're going to mess up. We're going to say things that we shouldn't say. We're going to think things that we shouldn't think. We're going to act on things in a way we shouldn't. That's falling down. And the wonderful message is we have an advocate in Christ that says, I already paid for that. I already paid for that. And repenting is towards God, turning towards him, acknowledging that he's God, and asking for forgiveness is two separate things. Two separate things. First, you have to acknowledge that he's God and he exists. So that means he's capable of answering and forgiving you. Then you bring to him. If you sin, John says, confess your sins and he's just and faithful. He will forgive you. But if you act like you didn't sin because you didn't confess it, what are you doing? You're living in sin. And that's a problem. That's a testimony that you aren't really walking with God. You're not really walking. He's going to have to talk to you like he did with Adam. Where are you? Not that he was hiding good. God couldn't find him. Man, Adam, you've gotten good at this hide and seek. Where are you, man? Where are you? I can't find. He knows everything. He wanted the confession. Where are you spiritually? You did something. And I want you to confess what you did. Well, that woman you gave me. We have to be accountable to ourselves, acknowledge the fact that we're going to be sinners until we leave this body. It's going to happen. So I just wanted to say that and address it, and we can continue. Thanks for giving me the stage to say that.
I love it. Everyone here at Trader Roundup, authenticity is the vibration. What's most important to me is that you just be your authentic self. Michael's done a really good job of setting the stage of being authentic with the community, both with the information, the knowledge, as well as his thought and feeling. So in my opinion, all I would like you to do is be your authentic self. If that authentic self is hurt, broken, then we're going to come up here and give you a hug. If that self of yours is doing well or crushing it or whatever you're used to saying or acting a certain way, just be yourself. Right? Just be yourself. And I want to turn back to Johan, and I want to welcome him back to Trader Roundup, and wanted to see where and how he wanted to continue before he got broken off with the conversation.
But you could understand me, right? I was shaking a lot.
Yes, sir.
Could you?
Yes, sir.
Could you hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We could understand.
So the thing you said with Bitcoin, it can't go 30% of a new 100-yard field. I think you could apply the same thing to silver and crude now, 100 to 200. So my question is, you said new 100-yard. So I wondered if it would be, if you would apply the same thing, if silver would go again above 100, or would it be 100, or would the 100 be 120 to 200, and you treat it as unfinished business, or 120 to 220, or you just wouldn't use it at all. And in Crude, in Crude, 100 to 200 is not really a new range. It's not undelivered, but it hasn't been there since a while. So can ranges become new after time passed, or do they need to be 100% fresh? And could you apply the same thing to, let's say, NQ 25K to 26K, or if we would have, or to a market maker model, if it goes 30% above the range, it will likely go to OTE or original consolidation? Yes, that's my question.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to try to say what it is you wanted to know, but that right, I'm away from charts. Number one, I'm literally away from charts. The only thing I have in my hand is my phone. But to answer your question about silver and whatnot, I've already said I wouldn't touch it, and I don't have any expectations on silver except for potentially retracing a little bit lower. I don't think that you should be trading it because you're probably going to get hurt. As far as crude, I mentioned that today in the live stream too. I think you should be hands off on that. I honestly think that we're going to see above $150 a barrel on crude. Can I get into a trade that does that run? Probably not. So if I'm saying with a great deal of honesty, humbleness, telling you, listen, I know a lot about trading. I know how to get in and out of a lot of stuff. I know enough to know that this is poison, and I don't want to touch it. So I wasn't sure if you heard that live stream today. I did, but I kind of like talked about those things. It's right now in the chart. It's giving me every bit of evidence that I should not touch it versus a market that's clean, very nice price runs, leaves the inefficiencies. It comes back and uses the inefficiencies and then runs again. That's a market that's telling you it's tradable. It's easy to run around in. Crude oil, sure. Everybody knows that crude oil is going to go up. Even the news says it's going to go up. Just, everybody knew any drama that took place in the Middle East was going to cause oil to go up. Nobody's smart because of that outcome. The real geniuses are going to be is if they can get in this and not come out with their head completely removed from their shoulders by being long in it. So because now everybody wants that to happen, they expect it to happen. To me, it's just like perfect opportunity to set up people as cannon fodder. So buying it here, it might work. We can come back in hindsight and say, wow, it was a great time to buy. ICT said, don't touch it. Look at this. And okay, that's okay. I'm telling you, I'm not willing to do anything with that with my own money. And to me, that would mean something to me as a student. I wouldn't be doing anything with it. So that's the only thing I can do in terms of answering your questions in regards to silver and crude oil. And I don't think that I'm going to be any benefit to you answering the other portions of your questions because I don't have charts in front of me to be able to look at it. So if you want a better response, just frame it. Show your own chart on your phone. Record your screen and talk into your microphone and make a question. I mean, all of this goes for all of you. I mean, these are all things that you all can do this on X to me. Like say, hey, look, I got a technical question. I'm looking at this chart right here. See this right here? My question is, does this have any validation or invalidation about this idea or concept or that? And
They can post in the comments. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Michael, but yeah, if you wanted to post here or on yours, I'm just saying there's a multitude of places where you'll engage, and the comments here in Trader Roundup as you're talking with folks is a great kind of classroom for them to ask their question. And if it is technical, I'm just trying to help, is to frame that question in some form of chart, as Michael has requested in the past. That's part of the protocol. If you would like a technical answer, then ask the question correctly with a chart in the comments. And now's a great time because he could address it, and or in any of these comments, he's inviting you to ask the question correctly with the technical information in front of him to answer it. I didn't mean to interrupt, Michael. I just wanted to add that. So
no, I mean, I feel ineffective when very well thought out questions and concerns that a student may have, and they're justified. But if I don't have the information to look at what it is they're seeing and then contemplate where they arrived at that question, because I already know if you show me a chart, around a concept, I kind of know where you're going to fall short on an understanding. So it makes it easy for me to say, this is what you should have seen here, or this is what you're misinterpreting or misunderstood, or this is where I failed in teaching well enough around that concept and that precise, specific concepts. You know,
Which is
procedure.
why I like to interject and remind the community that we have process and procedure here for us to operate effectively and for us to communicate efficiently to our mentor. There is process and procedure, just like in trading. If you want to be a good student, if you want to be a good steward towards what we do here, you follow process and procedure. That saves time for Michael. He shouldn't have to explain to you why you didn't follow the rules and why he can't explain to you the specific concept. Because if you include a chart in the comments and give him an opportunity with the question, then you're affording a space in which to answer the question intelligently. Otherwise, it's a very nice conversation, but you're not really being fair to the conversation and the folks listening, or that go back and listen, which is why including them in the comments here is actually pretty effective.
Sorry, I didn't articulate right.
No, it's not your fault, Johan. And this is a larger
no.
conversation for everybody. It's not you, buddy. Please don't take it personally.
No, you understand the question wrong. I did it not good. So I asked about the 30% of a 100-yard field concept you said you used for the Bitcoin call at the top. And my question was, could you apply the same thing to implied dealing range, a market maker model, or what I used crude oil for is the 100 to 200 price range is not really undelivered, not really fresh new, but it was not there for a while, and that's why I said that maybe ranges can become fresh again.
Well, the market maker models, they're pretty much set in stone with the rules and procedures I use with that. They're not going to amplify beyond what you already have with them. They're pretty well rounded, and this is what you look for. So applying something like a 30 to 100 yard analogy doesn't really work, because if it pulls down into optimal trade entry for a market maker sell model, that market maker sell model may not go down and take the original consolidation sell side out. It could turn and go higher, like I was using an illustration today in pound dollar on the currency pair. So you have to be aware of that. You could be wrong as an analyst. I could be wrong. They could do something in the world geopolitically, cause the currency to turn just coincidentally right there too. So having rules is one thing, but trying to force that one analogy I use because of Bitcoin, that doesn't fit in everything. It's just that was one of the things I was looking at, because we're dealing with historical highs, so that's why I was using those ideas.
And could you break that down even more fractally? As example, 1,000 handle range or 100 handle range only in Nasdaq?
I wouldn't personally do that, but there's nothing saying that you can't investigate and do your own study in that regard.
Okay, thank you. Now, one more question to the first presented. Does the first presented fair value gap main time frame change? Because I see at the 11:30, mainly I use that time, for that time, the 50-second to define my fair value gap. But sometimes it's also the 1 minute when it's just really obvious. But I wonder if you have a rule for that, and maybe if even 3:30 is a thing, because I see something there too.
Well, I want to make sure I understood your question. What time frame is there the best one to find the first presented fair value gap? Are you asking like 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute? Are you asking that?
No. For most first presented, I use 1 minute. But for the 11:30, for the lunch opening range, I look at the 15-second time frame sometimes, and I have really nice fair value gaps there sometimes. But it changes. One time, yeah, it was 1 minute.
I think that any time frame that you're looking for, obviously smaller time frame, you're going to get a better hit rate if you're right on your expectation on price action, because you're going to get immediate feedback. I don't think there's a best case scenario, because it's based on what you see in price action. If you're looking at the 2-hour lunch period beginning at 11:30, and you're watching price over a 1 minute chart, but you're seeing price start sharing a lot of the same previous range. So they're overlapping. Not so much picket fencing or building a barcode, but it's sharing a whole lot of the previous candles range on the 1 minute chart. That's usually indicative of where you can just simply go down to a sub 1 minute and you'll be able to see what wouldn't materialize normally on a 1 minute chart. So in terms of finding the better suggested time frame, that's the only thing I can say in terms of whatever time frame I'm looking at. If I can't see breaks in delivery where there's separation and inefficiencies, I'm going to keep dropping down to smaller time frames until I get that. That's the resolution I'm aiming for. So it's like a microscope. If I take a sample of something, okay, and what am I studying? NQ. So I take that, like I take a drop of the market's blood, and I put it on a little slide, and I put it underneath the microscope, and I go down to a certain magnification, and I'm not getting the detail I'm looking for. So I power up the magnification. I go down to a smaller time frame, and what that affords me is I'll start seeing those little cracks in the delivery of price action that I'm looking for, those inefficiencies, and then when I apply time to it, then it'll start working.
Okay, thank you. I have many more questions, but I don't think I'm good prepared today.
You've done a
Maybe
great job, Johan, and thank you very much. I mean, I thought those were very good, thoughtful questions.
Yeah, I have some more, but Kitt, could you not blacklist me? Maybe I don't think I did a good job today, but I just have another chance. Maybe
I'm not blacklisting you, but you can maybe add me to your follow list if we're going to ask for requests here, right?
Got it.
Oh, good. I made the 16-year-olds follow list. Good for me.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Good for me. Look at that.
16 years old, man. I wish I would have started when I was 16.
I know. That's impressive, isn't it? He's highly intuitive, and you can hear it, right? Very, very intuitive young man. So I like hearing him thinking through his feeling. When I hear people think through and with emotion, that is very intuitive to me. And when we talk about trading, it's important that you think of both your thought and your feeling, because that's your vibration, right? Your voice, your thought, and your feeling. When we can raise those up to God, when we can raise those up to positivity, when we can make purposeful efforts not to be negative, not be in a low vibratory state where we really just, again, try and break through that. Anyway, I'm really glad that we're here, and I love the conversation. Keeping the conversation going, keeping it flowing. Folks here, heard from AM, Pip Munch. We've had a really nice, thoughtful conversation. Would you like to add anything? Because I definitely like the time, 11:19. Would you like to sprinkle any Pip Munch into the combo real quick before we go to anyone else?
I like the time.
I like the time too. Very nice.
What do you mean?
Just within the conversation today. I just like to reflect back to you within our conversation, within what you're hearing. Again, we're a classroom, so I like to give people an opportunity who do have the speaker tag. Like what you're hearing today. What are you hearing? What reflect to me what you're hearing, pretty please, for the audience member. Maybe that's going to really resonate with how you describe it.
Well, I think I have been hearing that we are all kind of in touch with what's happening inside of ourselves. Yeah, you call it a collective conscious. I think I'm kind of feeling that today.
I love that.
And I think as well that it's very impressive that Johan, that he's so young and busy with all of this. So that's impressive. Yeah, I was. We talked about the concepts at the start of this space, and let me see. Yeah, these are my initial notes. So I'm not as organized as
No, you're doing great.
as
I
I
really
was.
like just your reflection because we are bringing in some more folks, and that gives me a little bit of time to
Okay.
review and look at things as I'm managing or trying to help manage, our next chapters within the conversation that we're having here. So, again, it's kind
Okay.
of a nice little interlude for me to kind of do a little back end here on and trying to ensure
Yeah,
we
I think we
maintain
had a lot of
maintain the 1121 kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to maintain that kind of vibe. You feel me? So.
yes, yes.
Just give me a
No,
second.
I think we had some nice conversations. I also liked the gentleman that was talking about his funded accounts and how he was doing that. And I think we have a great vibe going. What I was thinking about myself, but I don't know if we can do that in this space, is what Michael was talking about at the end of the live, that he would like to hear what people are doing or planning to do with the concepts when they are becoming successful. I don't know if we can do something with that.
I think naturally, very nice ad there. Michael, any words?
That's what I'm kind of hoping to hear. Because I mean, it's great hearing I got a
Okay.
payout. I bought this car. I went on this trip. Look at this new watch I bought. Like I have all that stuff. That doesn't really thrill me.
Yeah.
And a lot of you that don't have those things yet, you get inspired when you see that kind of stuff. And I lived the Rob Report type thing at 20 years old too. But as an older guy, having been around the block a few times, I'm encouraging you all to just test that perception of what life feels like in your hands when you do things like that. And you don't have to claim Jesus
Yeah.
Christ because if you don't believe in Christ, I mean, don't pretend, don't play that role if you're really not going to live it. But just try to be a genuine, decent person and try to do something nice for someone else and see how well it makes you feel, and it really inspires you to do more and help. And that's what's wrong with this world, man. I mean, everybody's trying to hurt the other person instead of just saying, look, you look like you need a hand. Can I help you? Instead of saying, look at you, let me make fun of you, make a mockery of you. It's just disgusting.
Yeah. 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 So I have personally something to say, but I would like to give others the chance to do it first. And Kitt, I was almost gonna choke. Did you hear? But I recovered.
You did a great job.
I'll give others the chance, but at the end, I have something to
Yeah,
say
no
about
doubt,
myself.
no doubt. And I
Okay.
think the point that we're making here, and I mean, Michael's made it many times, but I love the grocery analogy and just randomly helping someone else. It's like the most touching. One of the most touching ways I believe as a trader, you can really kind of anonymously go out and bless someone. And Michael's mentioned that many times. And if you as a trader have ever put yourself in an opportunity to help another person without looking for anything in return, just doing it because you want to do it, you'll be shocked at what you kind of get back. And Michael has really made that point, and I'd really love for other folks. I think that's what he's imploring within the conversation as well. So D-Ruv, you're up next, and then I got Misael. But D-Ruv, jump up here, buddy.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you? Pretty please follow protocol.
Yes, sir. I'll introduce myself. I'll tell you how I engage charts, and then I proceed with my question. So I'm 21. I'm 22 currently. I started trading when I was 17. Initially, I followed the discipline of turtles, buying the breakout, selling the breakdowns. Uh, and with time, I stumbled upon ICT, and I've watched his work, and I'm grateful that I found his work. Uh, so I am from India, and I'm raised by a single mom, and I look at you guys as a fatherly figure and my mentors. So how I engage with the price is basically through market maker models. How I frame my market maker models are with the aspect of time. So, framing a smart money reversal through time is what I do. So, say for example, we are looking at the NQ chart, and uh, uh, the price manipulates. How do I tell this? I'm actually nervous. I'm sorry. Uh, uh, so uh, I look at the time. I'm on the 1 minute chart,
Okay,
and
we like the 1 minute. We like the 1 minute.
yeah. And say for example, I look at AMD cycle. So I am anticipating when the manipulation is happening, and I'm anticipating the distribution cycles to
Okay,
happen.
so you like trading a protraction. You like trading the protraction schematic. So you're waiting for the Judas swing, and then you're trying to engage with that, as you said before, turtle soup. You're trying to engage with 70% of the range. You're trying to engage with the schematic as described through core content month 8, high probability trading month or episode 4, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Kind of that, but I have added my personal touch to it. So what I do is
Absolutely. High five. I love hearing that.
uh, I've added my personal touch. So I look at all the time frames. Uh, uh, and say the time is 9:36. So 9:36 is, and if it's manipulating below the low, it the same time is also manipulating the other time frames. So I hope you get the point. Like uh,
Well, you're
the,
talking about
the
algorithmic, as Michael has described within this algorithmic environment of what we trade, a schematic that we
yes, sir.
refer to as a protraction.
Yes, sir. So and I cycle through the I cycle through the time. So
So
basically,
multi-time frame alignment within a protraction setup. So you're within an open range and you're looking for AMD. Continue.
Uh, so that is basically how I engage in price. So so I'm basically looking for manipulation at a specific time,
Right.
uh, on multiple time frames.
I like
So
it. I like it.
manipulation at multiple time frames at a specific time, and then when it it gives a displacement to the upside at that time, and then I can frame my low risk buys,
Yeah,
first
and
stage
naturally you're in a
distribution, second stage
macro, and
distribution.
that's trading the
Yes,
schematic of ICT. Congratulations. That's
y-
precisely what he teaches. So that's a market
yes,
maker
sir.
buy and sell model during a macro time. That's trading the PD array matrix within the ICT macro time setups. Correct?
And yes, sir.
All
And
right.
I also look at how the left side of the curve is forming
I
the
love
right side
that,
of the
buddy.
curve. So,
Good job. Did you have a question? I mean, you're doing great.
uh, yes, sir. So I'll be completely open to you guys. So basically I was funded with many prop firms. I got funded. I took consistently like 7, 8 payouts, and then that the high of being funded and high of being profitable kicked in, and I blew my funded accounts.
Ooh.
Derailed myself completely. I was that was like 1 year before, and now I'm currently uh, trading a prop firm, and I'm in a challenge phase, and I'm about to get funded. I know I'll get funded and I'll get a payout soon. I'll get back on track. My question is, what the prior topics were prayers, right? So what other prayers can we pray to God and pray to universe, so that uh, we get what we desire and what we want to achieve and want to help, if our purpose is want to helping others through us, and we become the mediators, how can we pray correctly? And that's my question.
I love that question.
Well, I don't pray to the universe, number one. I don't think that there's any benefit in doing that. So you guys can decide what you want to pray to and who you're going to ask for guidance or provisions. But the first thing that if you're asking me, the response is number one, you got to know who God is. Two, do you ask for His will to be done? That's what when they asked Christ, who was God in the flesh, teach us how to pray. He taught the Lord's Prayer, and you acknowledge that God is who He is in the beginning of the prayer, and you say, "Let Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." So he gets his way in heaven, and you're inviting him to have his way in your life and your decisions and your walk with him in this life and your interactions with other people. You want that to be in alignment with what his will is. That's not to say that you know what his will is, because it's his thoughts are above our thoughts. But he's given us kind of like rules and boundaries to try to operate in. And we all fail. We all miserably fail those. But living a life that's pleasing to him and asking him to give you direction in your life so that way you would be in alignment with his will. And the only way you know his will is by reading his word, his instructions on how to live this life. You shouldn't be asking God to have things for the sake of having things. And you shouldn't be asking God for success so that way you can have success. I tried that a lot. And they were the hardest lessons for me to learn, because I was like, okay, I believe in God. And I believe, and I asked for forgiveness because I messed up a lot. And so therefore now everything's good. So now because I believe in him, he owes me this exchange in currency where I believe in him, he gives me what I want. And that's not him being God. That's you being a taskmaster over him. You are asking him to jump through hoops and perform for you, like a genie rubbing the Bible, rubbing the Bible 3 times and asking for 3 wishes. Okay. And God doesn't usually do very well in those types of settings. He kind of goes quiet, or worse. And you probably want to hear the responses from that. So I think that, in short, and then I'll let you guys get to another caller. When we try to live a good life, it should be first pleasing to him, knowing what his expectations are with us, which is love God first, and then love your neighbor as yourself. That's what the 10 Commandments really are. It's only 2 of them, really. When you really study, it's just 2. Love God first and put him first in everything. Understand everything you get comes from him. You didn't earn anything. You can't earn it. Success in trading isn't earned, okay? And even the folks that don't believe in God, when they succeed, that's God's grace to them. They just don't acknowledge it. They don't see it for what it is. But when you have a prayer life and you pray to God and ask him to bless you and let you walk in his perfect will and to reveal his will to you, you got to be sensitive to the things that happen around you and how people talk and engage with you and what your motivations are each time. If you get up every day and you leave the house, how quickly does your mind turn to being mean-spirited or selfishness? I hope I get this. How many times does the word I come up in the conversation internally? I, me. If you're doing a lot of that, then you're probably not trying to seek his will. And he is not going to try to lavish more onto someone that's selfish like that, which is why I mentioned here and I mentioned other times, by having a life that is charitable, that's giving, that is sympathetic to those that are in need, that are struggling. I am absolutely a living testimony to how that works. I do not believe in tithing. I don't believe that you pay 10% on anything. It's not biblical. Okay. In fact, it's more than 10% when God asks you to do it. And some of you aren't prepared for that. But if you feel God tell you to do something, how quickly are you able to try to figure your way out of that and say, well, that would be nice if it would happen if somebody else did it, but I don't think I want to do that. You're not in his will. You're not gonna live in your life in his will. So you're gonna be not getting the blessings you think you should be getting because simply you asked for it. And there's been people that have sent me emails over the years and said, listen, I've been listening to you and I asked God to help me become a better trader, and it hasn't happened yet. So the conversation goes, well, what are you doing for the Lord? Like, what are you doing? And how are you helping other people? Because if you're a person that helps other people, you give your time to other people, you make yourself available to other people, you make yourself friendly. I would say, if you want friends, make yourself friendly. If you're toxic all the time and you're just trying to be the center of attention, the person in the crowd that everybody wants to emulate, that's pride. All the angels that talked to Lucifer said that you should be like the Most High. What is that? That's social media today. And Lucifer is anybody that's getting all that clout right now. Look how I handle it. I don't want you worshiping me. I want you to give all the credit to God. And I want you to talk to me just like I'm an average person. You shouldn't be nervous talking to me. I'm not special. There's nothing better about me than you. You put your pants on the same way I do. I mess up just like you do. I'm I'm fallible. I'm not infallible. So by asking in prayer that God gives you the heart of a giver and a lover of your neighbor. Who's your neighbor? Anybody that's not you, whether they're a religion of yours or not a religious person, different religion, an atheist, that doesn't matter. They're your neighbor. And how you engage with them, how you have a relationship with them in public, or if they ask you for help and you think, oh, no, I don't like your type. Well, that's not living God's will. So those type of people, I believe God will resist, because why would he? Why would he lavish his blessings on someone that's ugly like that? So just ask for his will to be done in your life, and I think that will be enough for him to guide you. He's God. He can do it.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. One last question. Can I ask it, please?
Real quick, D-Rub. You asked something and I wanted to add 2 cents to it. And how to pray or how to bestow blessings upon yourself is to be to be that focal point for God on someone else. It doesn't matter how old you are, but there's
I'm
always
sorry.
going to be someone who has less than around you. And your job is to find someone who is weaker than you, someone who has less than you, and it's up to you to be a blessing to them. So you ask me, how do you pray? How do you deal with manifestation? How do you get in God's light? Is you become God's light and you go help someone else. So you can do that by, you say you're 26 years old, you could find a child. You could give them a nice little warm food. You could put food in their belly. That's nice. Someone who's hungry. You could, when you go out of your way to help someone else that has lesser than you, a child, someone who's elderly typically is weak. They're double. And you're a young, strapping 26-year-old, and you don't even realize that your health is the light that you can bring into someone's life that might be sick, that might be weak. And you just showing up and willing to be light to help someone else with less than. How do you learn how to pray, D-Ruv? And you're coming to Michael, and you're coming here, and you have a single mom, and you brought me to tears when you introduced yourself, saying that you come here for fatherly advice, because that's why we're here. And
Yes,
and that, to me, is why I'm telling you, you want to know how to pray, you want to know how to help other people, is you go help other people. And then those blessings come to you. Those blessings find you. And all you have to do is affirm who you are within these blessings. You're helping other people, and I love the fact that we can be a global community. And some folks, I try and manage, some folks might not pray to the same person. And that's okay, because I look for the universal constants of your higher self and your higher being, and you being your better self, you choosing to make a better decision. And it's a decision, and it's an intention. And when you come here and when we talk about being a community and we come together, the intention is good. And we're here with very good intentions, and we're trying to help. And if you can just simply do that in your own life, you'd be shocked at the blessings. You'd be shocked at how prayer is answered.
yes, sir. One last question, Michael. The idea of price manipulating at the same time on different time frames and framing a smart money reversal off of that. Is it worth it to carry my studies on this specific uh, uh, niche of price and time theory? If you can just give your advice on this.
I would never discourage anybody from doing their own pursuit and study, because if I would have used that same, like if someone would have told me that I had respect for, If I would have asked Larry Williams, let's put it that way. If I would have asked him, hey, do you think there's any benefit to me looking at this pattern, these three candles, when it's a down close candle and I'm expecting it to be bullish, if I can trade above it and come back down into it, would that be beneficial if I did? If he would have told me, no, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't be here today. So what kind of mentor would I be if I discouraged you from your own study? That's the very thing that I tell you to do all the time. Go into price action and study it. Use these concepts as a baseline and let everything pan out, because you're going to learn more in your own hands with it and me talking about it. I'm only going to give you the things to start with, and then you have to do the work. But then it will start resonating with you because you'll see things in your own hands, in your own perception of price action, and your model will flesh out because of that very thing. So absolutely pursue it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Kitt. I'll let other speakers speak. Also, Kitt, I'm 22, not 26.
Okay, no, that's cool, brother. High five. I mean,
High five.
thank you for
Thank you.
correcting me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hit, I'm at 12:15 and I got to escape.
Yes, sir. That gives us a few more minutes. We're coming up here. We have Miss Sayel and Alex here with the speaker tags. Thank you, D-Rub. We've heard from Jack Brown. We've heard from Pit Munch. Miss Sayel and Alex.
Could Alex go first? I need a few minutes here.
Oh, sure. Alex, jump in here then, buddy. Thank you for letting us know. Alex, long-time listener, not a first-time caller. Jump in here, buddy.
Yeah, what's up, kid? How you doing?
No,
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Any way you can reflect on what Michael had requested through the live stream, and/or any thoughts on the conversation today?
Well, I really touched me when he said about the stuff is going on in the world and everything is getting expensive and everything jumpy price. I mean, everything is getting so expensive that you cannot afford anything right now. But I like to have an approach on that because I'm a big believer in Christ. I was when I was a child, I was brought to Jesus, right? Good thanks to my grandma, and yeah, I mean, it's difficult even for me, right? Sometimes to be in the to be because all these times and tribulations going on, right? Sometimes because I'm human, I make mistakes, right? And I really love what Michael touches on, talks about God and talks about what's happening in this environment. Also, what the market is doing right now. You see that when he points, right? When he points about the shows something that I really liked on the chart, right? And he we utilized that event horizon that week. He's the fib on the week, right? And he said, yeah, I would like to see price coming back, right? To the to the oh my god, man, sometimes to the range, right? So I like when because he told us that the weeks are gaps, right? That's why when you see price sweeping very fast, right? And then comes back into the range, like, I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome, man. I mean, I really liked what he was showing.
You're a big inversion trader. How did you like the proper, like the real proper schematic on body closure on the inversion with the retracement to really trigger that model? That was pretty
I mean,
powerful. I mean, I know you
yeah.
trade it, but you really got a clean and clear schematic with your if-then tree for that model today.
Yeah, I mean, I really like, I like the inversion, and because I like when the first presentation becomes an inversion, right?
Well, I just know that the
Uh,
inversion is your model, and what Michael went over today was very much in detail the inversion. So I
yeah,
just wasn't sure if you wanted to add on
the
that at all.
inversion when the inversion becomes the inversion when the first presentation becomes an inversion and has a breaker, so that's for me it's powerful. It's the most powerful tool you can have. I believe that, you know, when you have an opposite liquidity, you have the turtle and you have three things that go together. Because I remember when Michael said that if you got three things that go together, it's good. But if those three things are getting, let's say, disrespected, price goes, rip your stop, your ass is next, right? And that quote is very, very nice, right? And yeah, inversion for me, it's, I mean, it's the most powerful with the first presentation, right? That's how I base myself in the trade, but I need to have the right time, right?
Yeah.
The right macro, the right time, because I don't go and I see an inversion, I go enter it. No, I just need to see the time. If I don't have the time, the right time to it, I cannot execute, because that's not gonna be framework on it. I'm not gonna have framework. I'm not gonna have nothing to it, right? Because time is gonna lead me. See, this is a specific time. I'm going in a specific area, and yeah, I mean, this is the way I will engage with price, because I will not gonna see an inversion and say at 12 o'clock is it even, and for example, and execute on it, because not if every single inversion is the right one. Because if that inversion is in the right time, has the right level to it, because he said we have the gradient level, right? We have that.
Well, the body closure outside of it, once it was kind of filled, I thought was pretty interesting from a specification kind
Exactly,
of
the body closure,
standpoint,
the
right? The
bodies.
body closure outside of it, once it's been filled for its retracement back up into it. I mean, it kind of felt a little bit, I mean, it was just very, I thought it felt very, just felt like a mentorship kind of class and understanding
Exactly.
what you want to look for
Exactly.
step by step in
Yes.
seeing the inversion fair value gap trigger into a trade model. Yeah, so
I mean, the bodies tell the story, the wicks do the damage, right?
Yeah.
The bodies are the ones where you need to watch for, look for, right? And the wicks are just,
Michael, did
that.
you want to add anything to that quickly?
Yeah, as I was listening to you, I just sat down in front of the computer and I'm looking at gold. And along with what you guys are saying, if you guys want to take a moment, just get your 1 minute chart loaded up on gold. And the consequent encroachment on the gold chart on its daily time frame, that wick, that discount wick is on the daily chart, February 2nd, 2026 of gold. And then that consequent encroachment level comes in at 4537.9. And you'll see how if price hits it, the bodies are just right at it at 848 on the 1 minute chart. And then we dive down below it. That 1 minute after 9 a.m. Eastern time, that SIBI, that sell side of balance, buy side efficiency, that becomes a inversion fair value gap while it's laying over top of that consequent encroachment level. It trades above it on candlestick 5 minutes after 9. Then it trades down to the low of that SIBI that's formed at 901. The bodies stay in the in the lower quadrant area, and then it trades outside of it again. Then it comes right back down and stops dead in its tracks at 47 minutes after 9. Then during a macro time, it starts spooling up to a fair value gap at 1 minute after 8. That fair value gap, it traded up into that. So this is a wonderful illustration of how I would use a consequent encroachment, and the same thing, it would look just like this also for an event horizon entry model. Just that 50% level on that wick. Look how much detail it pulls out using the framework and then using the PD arrays correctly. The SIBI at 1 minute after 9 becomes an inversion fair value gap. It's a sell side, downside, down close. So it's a down close candle, but we're using that wick on the daily chart, anticipate some kind of a bounce, which is reasonable, seeing so much of a drop. It leaves it, comes back down in, and stops dead right on that consequent encroachment of the 1 minute after 9. And that, look at that. That's just a beautiful display of, completely randomness.
The market maker schematic, to your point, Michael, on the 1 minute of gold there with your inversion fair value gap. And it's when we say precision, that's it, right? And you put all of it in. I mean, the schematic today on gold outlined by you right there, very specifically for folks that want to understand Michael's market maker model, a market maker buy model, the change in the state of delivery, where and how you're going to find that occur within a period of time, a swing point on a higher time frame, or within this low time frame, but also within a higher time frame context, right? Just perfection, Michael. It's beautiful. It's the precision is for those that can see it. Again, you're dealing with a schematic that it's up to you to be capable of applying a logic and a theory and a philosophy and an empowerment within this algorithmic environment of what it's doing, seeking liquidity or inefficiency within the liquidity paradigm. I love it. We are got a couple more here. Let me see. I'm bringing up Santiago. Let's see what Santiago has to say.
Wait, hold on, Kai. I
Oh
thought
yeah,
I had
I got
next.
you. I miss I. My bad. You're back. Okay, good.
Come on, big dog.
He's like, don't play me, boy. All right, my bad. You're right. You're up, my Misael. Am I saying it right, Misael?
Yes, sir.
All right, just making sure. I like the name.
Appreciate it. Greetings, everybody. Peace and grace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. My name is Misael. I'm 23. I'm here in Houston, Texas. The way I engage price action is I take into consideration the opening range gap, opening range, new day opening gap, new week opening gap, and previous first presented fair value gaps. And of course, it would all be subordinate to what the narrative is. And that's actually ties with my question here from Michael. And it goes over a past X space that he did called Keys to Understanding the Present Market Narrative. And it was kind of like cutting up. Sometimes you couldn't hear him at all. But could you go over the keys of the kingdom to narrative and bias you mentioned on that X space, please?
Well, unfortunately, sometimes when I get into a rant, I'm sometimes impressed by what I've heard myself say because I know I'm given the words to say sometimes, and everything's unscripted. But I probably won't have the same flow that I had at that time. But when I'm looking at a marketplace, I'm taking a higher time frame perspective, weekly, daily, down into an hour, down into a 15, and then I'm looking at opening ranges and inefficiency that we talk about all the time. New week opening gaps, new day opening gaps, regular trading hours opening range gaps. And I'm trying to build a grid over price action with the expectation that hopefully would submit to a higher time frame. But in recent weeks, we've seen how the market's been held in this big block of price action on the daily chart. So I've completely removed the necessity about needing to have a bias, but just simply looking for setups that's going to run to liquidity, inefficiencies as my entry points, and then keeping it simple like that, while admitting openly that I'd prefer setups that are shorts, but I won't shy away from taking longs if it's there. It just means that the longs would be smaller in terms of the scale of leverage. But I go through the process of looking for those key levels, and then I look for who's possibly going to get hurt at the next point of an opening session, whether it be 7 o'clock in the morning, pre-session, 9:30 opening bell, Eastern time, lunch time window, PM session, last hour trading. I'm looking for who's laying there with their neck on the blade, waiting for it to completely remove their head from their shoulders. Who's going to be cannibalized? That's narrative. Narrative is always who's going to get hurt. So looking for those potential victims in price action that have been making money right now, who's profitable right now. I'm looking for that as the central basis to why I'm looking for the market to begin. If we can have a higher time frame bias in concert with that same thing, then we get these price runs that are just one-sided and it's just so easy, it just takes off, keeps running. when everything's conflicted like it is right now, you have to be much more nimble, and your narrative gets reduced down to what's it likely to do over the next hour of trading only. And then where's that liquidity? Where's the inefficiency? Who's making money right now? And how can they unseat those individuals that are profitable?
And when you say that, you're referring to looking for the smooth edges, right?
Yes, that's the easiest way of doing it. But it doesn't have to be relative equal highs or relative equal lows. It could be single high, single low.
Okay. So I guess my next question would be a little bit more specific. So an example, right? Or the scenario where you have a bullish bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going into the 9:30 open. And how would you want to see delivery in the pre-session for you to stay bullish coming into the 9:30 open, or to sway that and go short, looking for something short?
The best thing that you would look for to support a long bias at 9:30 opening during the opening range in the first hour trading is you want to see a clean run below relative equal lows or a single low during 7 o'clock up to 9 o'clock, 9:30ish before the opening bell. If there was a real sharp run where they made things smooth that were existing either in London or through the pre-session hours, 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, if something was made smooth there and then they rip through it and reject it away from that, and you're holding a bias that's bullish going into 9:30, that is the surest thing there is as far as making sure that the first hour is going to afford you something to go long on.
And when you say sharp run, are we talking about 45 degrees, anything closer to that?
No, what I mean is if there was a
Sleep on relative
single
equal
low,
lows? Okay.
yeah, it could be relative equal lows, but it could be a low. It could be a low that was formed in London. It could be the previous Asian session low, and they run through that. They do it in like one or two candles, and they leave it. They rip that all. It's just completely taken out. Now they've trapped traders. So when you enter into 9:30 and you're long, the chances of them going down there one more time to rip through that again, it's probably not going down there to go through it to do a stop on. It's going down there to keep going. So that to me is one of the strongest things I like to look for in pre-session hours, whether I trade 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning or not. At 9:30, I'm going right back to 7 o'clock and saying, okay, what did we do there? And whatever we did in 7 o'clock, what did they leave in London that they didn't get between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock? And that information I get, I'm looking for something that was made smooth initially to be made jagged. And then I'm going to look for the opposing side. That's all this game really is. I mean, you're looking for the constant disruption between smooth, classic support and resistance ideas. We want to see those things get shredded. We're eviscerating all those things because it's simplistic thinking, and everybody wants simple thinking, simple trading, simple profits, and nothing is easier than going after the people that think it wants or want it to be easy.
And would you apply that concept going into any session? So, like, for example, I don't know, the London session, or going into the Asia, you take
It
into
rotates.
consideration.
It goes through the full 24-hour day. It starts at midnight, and you're going to use Asian session that just started a couple hours before. And then you're going to go into the London session, and you're going to look at what was left there, and you're going to go right back into what was already been given you. You're looking for something smooth, something to be made jagged. It could be a draw on your liquidity, or it could be your point of entry on a new trade. Either or, that's the methodology you're using. Then when we move from London into New York, what did they leave smooth in London? They're probably going to go after that in New York. If they don't go after it between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock, they're going to run for it in the opening hour between 9:30 and 10 o'clock in the morning. And then you're going to take whatever's been given to you between midnight and that point to then look for a retracement into the 10 o'clock hours high or low. If it's been going up, you're looking at a low that formed at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's the lunch macro that's going to pull down and get to that. What are they doing? They're displacing the people that were holding on to trades with hopes that's going to keep making them profits going up. They're knocking them out.
Stops. Yep.
Yeah. So, and then what you do is you wait for 1:30 in the afternoon. You look and see what did they leave smooth during the 2-hour lunch window, and then you use that for the PM session. And any unfinished business in the last hour usually gets quickly done up before the close of the day. And that's all you're doing. You're looking through constant feedback of what was left in the marketplace, who's going to get hurt next, The only time that this is difficult is when you're in big trending days where you only just get one side of the move, and unless you're in on the
No,
move,
it's taking
you
back.
missed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I
Good
follow
question.
up on a really good example of that, Michael, that we had occur in the market this week?
Sure.
And
Go ahead, big dog.
do you mind? If you look at how Friday closed, you will see bears, institutional bears, that got trapped underwater within the overnight session. We gapped
What
down
market? What
at
are we talking?
NASDAQ
Okay.
this week with the NWOG and a very classic bullish signature. So we had some bears that were trapped within the market on Friday, institutional bears. So any market on close bears that were on Friday. We gapped down, quickly opened up. An institutional bear is operating during New York hours. So the New York bears in the market on close, you can see very clearly what Michael is outlining on a higher time frame. If you can see this, what he is mentioning, who is getting margin called institutionally, the same way you would maybe go into a demo trade and blow up an account. Where and how can you see institutionally funds being blown up? That's what Michael is talking about, because these are the players and this is the psychology algorithmically that we are looking at. So again, Michael, I'm referencing the market on close orders after 1500 on Friday with the NWOG gap down with the immediate rebalance that then formed in the overnight session, that then when New York opened up and offered less than the first octave,
Octane.
octane, thank you. I refer to it as an octave. I think of it as an octave, so I apologize. An octane, and with where and how it refused or offered less than 1/8 of the overnight session with New York, for me, algorithmically, it was a very high probability long because there were bears trapped in the market. So I would be looking for the previous highs that were formed and the stops, because the market, their stops they're underwater when they come into the market at 9:30. So you see what I'm saying, right, Michael? Am I portraying the image of what actually occurred within the Friday evening's price action, with where and how we opened up with the end dog immediate rebalance, the bullish price action within the overnight session, creating the
Yes.
regular trading hours, the lack of the refusal for reprieval. I would say it would be a refusal for reprieval for those overnight bears that were underwater. They woke up at 9:30, accessing their funds underwater where they were in profit. I was trying to reference that with your point on a higher time frame, and hopefully I'm able to illustrate that over without the chart to you
Yes.
and the audience for that fact. Us being able to identify those trapped bears becomes a very high conviction long, in which algorithmically we can get on board with the shallow retracement at 9:30 for the algorithm then to further margin call those trapped bears. So that would be, as Michael has said, and what I would also state, that's a very high probability trade, is for you to be able to identify who's being damaged and for you to get on board like the little flea that we are in the institutional funds that are absolutely being destroyed by the institutional order flow going against them and their inability to get out, or their funds being, strongly taken, right? So Monday's
Appreciate
price
that.
action is a very good example of that, Misael, versus the fractal session version in which Michael was describing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This would be a nice study session to look over.
I hope we were able to convey that in this audio format. I don't need to look at a chart to be able to convey the details as I was aware of them, but I hope that the details that we've conveyed here are able to afford the listener the opportunity to also visualize that. Anyway, we are wrapping up. One final caller. We'll bring up, we've had Alex, Misael, D-Ruv.
Appreciate you, Michael. Appreciate you, Mike. Kite. God bless all of you.
I go by, you can call me anything but late for dinner, Misael.
Late for dinner.
Michael and I are of the same generation, therefore we have the same sayings and we like the same music. That's just how it is. We'll end with I tried to get Manos up here. We'll wrap up with Manos, a familiar voice, our Greek friend from New York. What did you hear, Manos? Let's just get a reflection on you, and if you might have a question or comment for Michael to close.
Hey, can you guys hear me? I'm on the computer. The phone's been acting silly.
I got you. We're in our final minutes here, and we can hear you loud and clear, brother.
All right. I wanted to touch on the topic before, and I'm cooking inside too, so excuse me if I'm going to be running in and out. On the how do you control yourself from doing dumb in the markets? It's all discipline, honestly. The first and foremost and hardest form of discipline. And I was just talking to my buddy Pete. You know Pete, you met him in Miami. Because he's got issues too with his.
Oh yeah. I remember Pete.
So anyway,
that's your cousin, right?
Yeah. Well, he's a brother from another mother, basically.
I feel you.
So the hardest form of discipline is what you put in your mouth. If you can control what you're eating, your diet, you can basically control anything, any action that you are about to, you know what I'm saying? Like, my discipline is on point. That's the reason I stay out of the market when I know I shouldn't be in there. If I take that one loss, I walk away. I got rules, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got rules and I follow them. And most people can't even lay down a set of rules, number one, let alone follow them. I forgot who said it, but he who cannot obey himself will be commanded. That quote has stuck with me ever since I read it. It might be Nietzsche or one of these Stoic philosophers. But anyway, man, it's the discipline, honestly, discipline. And when I do feel myself spiraling out of control, I just started doing the Wim Hof breathing again. Wim Hof is amazing. That calms you down.
Oh, I love that. Breathing is huge.
I started doing it in the sauna too lately. I'm going to the gym. I'm in the sauna. These people are like, they're falling out. I'm in there for 15 minutes. You got cats coming in. Within 7 minutes, they're out. And I'm still there doing Wim Hof. And I'm like, yo, look at these guys. But don't get me wrong. I mean,
bro, saunas are tough. I can tell you. I mean, saunas are tough. And I know you got just being able to have the mental fortitude sometimes, that's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not, and honestly, the hardest form, like I said, is what you eat, man. If you can control what you're putting in your mouth, you can control.
Honestly, physical drawdown is sitting there prolonged time in a sauna. That's physical drawdown, or in an ice bath. In an ice bath, I think.
Through whatever, like any possible stress I can possibly put myself through, I put myself through it so that I can test myself. And I'm always passing the test. For the record, I just got my blood work done the other day. My doctor calls me yesterday. My cholesterol is through the roof. I never, ever has it been this high, 327. But the good cholesterol is at 107, which he's like, yo, that's phenomenal. And my testosterone, I did all tests the other day.
Uh-huh.
Gotta share this, bro. He's like, yo, are you taking anything, man? I was like, no, I never did. I'm calling you because I'm 44 years old. I'm here. I'm doing this test because I'm 44 and I want to know if levels are just in case maybe you can prescribe me something so I don't go take it, the wrong way. He's like, yo, normal testosterone level is 400. Mine is at 707.
Oh, my boy.
I'm working out every day, sometimes twice a day. And I am, Michael, you mentioned some people can fully function on 4 hours. I stopped smoking weed 6 weeks ago. My energy is through the roof. It's insane. People think I'm on drugs, but I'm not. I don't.
Real quick, Manos, to your point, and with our limited time here, Michael, just a reflection back on you and closing up. Can we talk about some of the initiatives that we've been taking with health and how we're feeling and doing, as Manos has mentioned as well? Like,
stay physical, man. Just stay active. That is so important. Stay active and control your diet. I got to run because I got something on the fire. I'm going to mute myself.
No, high five, brother. High five. We're wrapping up, and I just wanted to see if Michael wanted to.
Man, honestly, bro, I love everyone, and I hope everyone in this market, in this field, makes it. I know how hard it is, and I will never, ever wish bad on anyone in this market. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't think the same way. Love you all. I'll catch y'all next.
Energetic chap, isn't he?
We love him.
That's good. I'm glad he's pursuing living well through better eating. And I think it is the medicine that obviously creation is afforded us all around us. We have what's good for us. but we choose all these high processed food stuff and chemical laced things, and it's awful. But it would be nice to see how everybody's getting along with that. I mean, I would like to see more participation because it will make your life better. Purging yourself of toxic foods that really shouldn't even be called foods. Fast food, completely take it away. Don't even do it. If eating at a restaurant comes to mind, then unless you're eating a steak, and some steamed vegetables with it, it's probably not worth doing. And the perception is eating out all the time and eating foods that may not be good for us. That's living well. It's not. You're actually making yourself sick, and you create all kinds of inflammation. But taking yourself down to a whole food diet, removing processed foods, getting rid of sugar, because it should be outlawed, really. It's such a terrible thing to our system, and it causes inflammation. It invites a lot of problems that eventually left untreated will present all manner of diseases. And when you finally purge yourself, and it takes just a couple weeks, really, you'll start feeling the difference in your body, the mental fog. You don't even realize you're living with mental fog because of poor eating habits and such, until you don't have it anymore. And when you sleep, like last night, I woke up late this morning. I went to sleep early and I slept all night long. That's not characteristic of me. And my body obviously needed the time, and it took it. And when I wake up, it's whenever I wake up. I don't use an alarm or anything like that. If I go to bed, I say I better be up by this time, not because it's stress or I better do it or I'm going to lose my job. It's just I want to be up before this time. My body just simply will get me up before that time. Now, if I'm sick or if I'm exhausted, then obviously, my body will do what's necessary, and then my wife will probably step in and say, "Hey, you have to be up by this time." But sleeping soundly and having a full night's rest, waking up not feeling tired still, that's usually indicative of inflammation as well. And brain fog, when you're looking at the charts, just because you had the day off and all your entire schedule is cleaned, there's nobody going to distract you. The kids are at school for the next 7 hours. Your spouse is, doing something else, and 100% your attention's on the chart, and you just simply can't focus. You just can't concentrate. That's usually insulin resistance, and it's created because of what you eat and how often you eat. So by changing that schedule, do intermittent fasting. It means short periods of time in the window of a day, 4 to 6 hours. In that range, you find your sweet spot. But all of your eating needs to be done in that. It sounds impossible. It sounds uncomfortable. It is for the first few days. But once you get in sync with it, I'm dialed in. Like I feel wonderful. I got my energy is really, really high. My focus is really clear. I know what I'm doing. My sleep is sound. I wake up. I don't feel like I need a nap. I feel good. And you don't experience this until you get yourself purged of all this toxicity. The foods that you're eating, you don't realize how bad it is for you until you stop eating it. And you're going to discover the things that your body's going to crave, that's the very things that's killing you. It's not by coincidence that the things that you want to eat the most of is the baddest or worst for your health. And your well-being as a trader it's important, because if you don't guard your mind, if you don't guard your ability to focus and know what you're looking for and not be confused, not slowed down and lethargic because your energy level is not optimal. It also helps by having what we do is stressful. Whether you're a good trader or not, it's stressful. And you have to have a way to help yourself heal and decompress. So when you're watching price action and you're pushing yourself through the gauntlet of enduring a hard trading session, whether you're trying to trade out a drawdown or trying to hold to a model and condition yourself to stick to it, that's stress. When you're living with an inflammation because of poor eating and not doing well to offset that inflammation, you're staying in a constant state of cortisol, adrenaline dumps, and you're wearing your body down way faster than it would be if you just allowed yourself to relax. I know, Kitt, you do like ice baths and things like that, and That's wonderful. But you also have to have a way for you to decompress, not only physically, but emotionally and psychologically, because we're putting ourselves through it all the time in these charts. We're we're projecting our worst fears in these candlesticks, and we're hoping and praying for the best outcome in them as well. So what is that? That's a constant tug of war. And you're wrestling while each candlestick forms. You think that the narrative is winning for you, and then a couple candles go against you, and you're thinking, okay, what happens if this is a losing trade? What happens if it gets a stop out? Who cares? And you have to constantly remind yourself that that's okay when it does happen. It doesn't change the focus of why you're doing what you're doing, because over time you should win more than you should lose. So it's a normal process. But that cause and effect of inflammation by eating poorly, you're already inflamed. You're already working with brain fog. You're already not sleeping well. You're stressful. How easy is it for you to fall asleep? How easy is it for you to stay asleep all night long? They're they're warning signs. If it's hard for you to fall asleep, or if you do fall asleep, if you get up 2 hours, hour and a half, 3 hours into it, not just to go to the urinate, because I don't get up to go to the bathroom like that. But I know people do wake up because of that type of thing. I would wake up and I'd be like, why am I waking up? Because I had insulin resistance. And my body was saying, okay, you need to do something right now. It wanted more food. It wanted to be fed. And you have to put your flesh into subjection and say, no, it's not time to eat. You don't need any fuel. You're sleeping. You just lay there. So if you are going through that, just get up, drink a little bit of water, not a lot, just a little bit, and then lay back down and try to relax and let your mind go to ease and just fall asleep. The more time you spend away from inflammation inducing foods, high process, if it comes in a box, it's going to hurt you. If it's not one ingredient mixed with one other ingredient to make your food, it's probably going to be a problem. If you're putting sugar in it, or if it has sugar in it, it's going to inflame you. And it's going to cause your body to work harder than it should. Your heart rate's going to increase. So if your heart rate is increasing, what's going to happen? What Pitt Munch was describing. She started feeling her blood go up her arms and up into her shoulders and up into her neck. That's high blood pressure. You're actually feeling it. It's gotten to a point where it's gotten so high, you're literally, when I hear these people say, you don't feel high blood pressure, you don't feel high blood pressure, that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. Because when my wife, if she starts seeing our kids do something, like for instance, our daughter, she has her own way of doing things, and she doesn't want to listen. She's a liberal, we can't fix her. Okay, she went to college, it is what it is. So we have to endure a lot of stuff. When my wife tries to talk to her, I can literally watch my wife's neck turn red like a thermometer. And all of a sudden, her eyes are watering, and she's so like she wants to spit nails. And the rest of the day, because she doesn't know how to unwind, she's snappy, she's miserable, and then finally she collapses when it's bedtime. But she's up several times in that night. Why? She's putting her body through stuff, and she doesn't eat as well as I do. She eats a lot of processed food because she spends time with her family members, and they eat like that. I don't eat that way. I don't go with her family. I don't hang with her family. I don't eat at restaurants like that. I don't eat fast food. So I don't have those problems, but she does. And I guess when she gets tired of living like that, she'll make a decision. I think that if you want to be the best you in all facets of life, not just in trading, this will supercharge your trading. It'll supercharge your ability to recuperate after trading, even if it's profitable. You make a lot of money, you don't realize how much stress you put on your body. It's a lot. Like you have adrenaline, it's pumping through you, you're all hopped up, you feel invincible, you're ready to run through a brick wall, and you think that that's not stress. You're stressing your system. Your body is not designed to stay in that state of mind all the time. So you have to ground yourself, physically respond to that everyday diet of stress, stress, stress. Go into relaxation. Listen to an audiobook that has nothing to do with money, and it's not a jarring storyline. Something that's peaceful, something that's calming. Music that's instrumental only, no lyrics. Something classical, something really mellow, whether you choose to like it or not. Those musicians had the gift of being able to create beautiful masterpieces of just wonderful treasures. Listening to him, Mozart, Beethoven, all of these old classics, just listening to him while you have a still mind. Don't think about money. Don't think about what you need to do. I better have this done. I got to take care of that. Stop all that stuff. And give yourself a good 15, 20 minutes a day after trading where you do that. If you're going to do so far as streams like do an ice bath, the same thing happens, but it's a little bit more jarring. A lot more jarring, actually. But the benefits of shocking you down into that, okay, as long as your heart can allow for that, the inflammation is combated by doing that. And then your breath control, managing that throughout the process of taking a trade, when you're in the trade. You don't realize you're hyperventilating until you're doing it, until you start feeling tingly or you start seeing stars or you feel dizzy. That's all attributed to your breath, and you don't realize it. You either slowed down your breathing and you're holding your breath and not realizing it, which sounds crazy, but that's what I used to do. I used to stop breathing. I'd sit there like waiting for something to happen in the marketplace where I could breathe again. And then all of a sudden I'd feel like lightheaded. I'm literally starving myself of oxygen. And then it went from that extreme over the years to then I started hyperventilating because I started trading with large leverage, really big leverage, and watching annual salaries come in and out of my account during a single trade. Between opening the trade and closing it, annual salaries. You want to find what it feels like to be stressful? That's what it feels like. You feel like you're going to pop. And you can't have anybody around you. No one's going to be able to talk to you. You can't have your pets around you. Everything's got to be like a dome around you, because you can't endure one more shred of stimuli because what you're putting yourself through is too high. That's not normal. Your body's not designed to take that on a day-by-day basis. You will wear yourself out, and I'm a testimony to that. So to guard yourself by eating well, learn to relax, learn to balance yourself, take yourself away from stimuli, all stimuli, 15, 20 minutes a day, right after your trading session, right after you do it. You are so keyed up and you don't realize it until you get to the state of calmness again. And recognizing what it feels like to be calm. It's not just simply, okay, I made money, or I lost money, I can't do anything about it. So, okay, I come to grips with it. It's over. No, you're still holding it. You have to release that stuff. You got to let go of it and say, okay, this event right now is done. Now I'm going to assign myself time to just be still. I have nothing to worry about right now. I have nothing to do right now. I have no one to see, no one to talk to. No one can reach me for the next 20 minutes. This is my time, and I'm going to relax. I'm going to unplug. There's no urgency. There's no emergency. There's nothing that I need to worry about except for bring myself down and do slow breathing, like box breathing. Okay. I don't really like 4 seconds. Inhale, hold for 4 seconds, exhale slowly for 4 seconds, wait 4 seconds, and inhale again for 4 seconds. Actually, that I found that what that does is it increases my heart rate. So what I did was I did a breathing pattern where I breathe in slowly for 4 seconds, I hold for 4 seconds, and then I exhale for 8 to 10 seconds slowly. And then I wait for 4 seconds. And the first time you do this, it's going to feel hard. It's going to feel like you're not breathing enough. It's going to feel like you're going to gasp for breath. Just work through it. After the first 5 or 6 breaths, then you'll get relaxed. By breathing out twice as long, minimum, as you did breathing in, it slows your heart rate down. That's the fastest 100% scientific way of bringing your heart rate down. As soon as you bring your heart rate down, blood pressure will drop. It'll regulate. It'll bring it down, and that sense of urgency goes away. And this can happen in 1 to 2 minutes, depending upon how keyed up you are. But you do this same breathing pattern for 15 to 20 minutes. When you're done, you're going to feel well grounded, oxygenated. The brain fog will be not completely eliminated unless you are eating clean. But eating clean, you may have a little bit of residual, concern because you were just in a high stress environment trying to trade a lot of money, or you endured a loss. Now you're carrying that mental baggage. So by controlling your breath, you fix immediately the high heart rate. The high heart rate that's going to bring high blood pressure. So you have to have a lowered, calm heart rate. And last year, I was having a rested heart rate of 125 beats per minute. That means I'm sitting still, sitting down with nothing going on. I'm not trading. I'm not doing anything. My heart rate was 125. It was tacking out like, and I didn't know why it was happening. And it was because of a buildup of insulin resistant. And I had to put myself through a purging. And then coupling that with breathing exercises, it brought my blood pressure down from 178, over 60 something, and or 115 rather. I had some crazy blood pressure readings. I had 220s that was in the emergency room. And that's a problem. You could pop. Your heart could literally just erupt and then you're gone. And I felt like that was going to happen while staying in the emergency room. So I know enough now to know that there's benefit to what I'm talking about. There's benefit to avoiding it. And it is avoidable. It's eating well, learn to relax, and you have to learn coping mechanisms to bring your blood pressure down. Trading, I don't care who you are, okay? This is why I ask all these people to act like they talk like they're so smooth and so perfectly focused. Put yourself on a blood pressure monitor that's digital and put that on your live stream. And you're going to learn a whole lot about yourself. You're going to see just how much stress you're putting on yourself. And it's not normal to continuously do that and not have an offset procedure to bring you back down to cope with that. Because you're stressing your body, you need to relax it. You need to eat foods that are healing, not inflammatory. So if you have inflammation and you're constantly feeding yourself the stresses of trading and the pursuit of being right and wrong and profitable, it's going to be a compounding effect and you're going to hurt yourself. It's going to wear and tear on your body, your health's going to diminish, and your quality of life once you get all that money won't be so good. And that's what I discovered last year. I'm like, what's the point of having all this money if now my health is going to be shot? So I made drastic changes. The first couple of weeks is hard, but it's easy to get to what you're pursuing if you're healthy. It's much harder when you're not healthy.
Thank you, Michael.
Very helpful.
I mean, we've reached our time limit. Just as a host, want to graciously thank Michael for his time. And it's been a very, very good trader roundup post ICT live stream, March 19th. Here we are, 12:28. I like the time. So thank you, Pit Munch. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Manos. Thank you, D-Rev. Thank you, Miss Sael. Thank you, all speakers and everyone. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful conversation. And look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thank you, Michael. Bless
Enjoy your
everybody.
day. Enjoy your day. Be safe.
You too, Mike. God bless y'all.
Thank
God
you.
bless. God bless.